You can feel it in the air right now. We're not just in the bull market. We're in the middle of a full-scale power shift in the financial system. The kind of moment where headlines fly by so fast, you don't realize history's being rewritten until you look back and go, oh, that's when everything changed. And I'm telling you right now, this is one of those weeks. We've got the US literally opening the doors for trillions in retirement money to flow into Bitcoin. XRP's legal shackles finally are being cut off. And the ETF machine, it's gearing up for a wave of demand like we've never seen. If you've been in crypto for a while, you know moments like this, they don't just line up by accident. They're a signal. And if you can read them right, you can position yourself before the rest of the world wakes up. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what's happening. From the macro shifts in Washington to the technical setups on Bitcoin and XRP to the institutional moves that are coming in XRP and Solana. And by the time we're done, you'll see why the next leg up could be absolutely explosive. Folks, welcome back to the Bullwinkle Blueprint. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. And if you're coming back for some more of that good info, hit that thumbs up. It is the ultimate way to support the channel for free. And it tells YouTube that RIP means business, and it sends these videos flying in the algorithm. The first video this morning it was a record-breaking video. We got an 800, 900 thumbs up, and we got over close to 15,000 views on it. Let's do the same for this Sunday night recap. Bitcoin's back above 119,000. It is at our key area of interest. Remember, 123K is that second area, and that is when Bitcoin goes on its tear. We're going to talk about that in a second. Ethereum coming in at 4,250, and XRP $3.17. Total cryptocurrency market cap, it's pretty much stale. It's stuck. It's flat. $3.94 trillion. I put this out. All we need is for Bitcoin to do something, folks. And that something is about $5,000 away. And this week is looking like a good week. This is the kind of policy shift that we can only dream about. And it just happened. I want to talk about what Trump just did here. And we're going to tie this into the Bitcoin chart. So this week, Trump signed an executive order unlocking $12.5 trillion from U.S. pension fund market for Bitcoin. Let me repeat that. The same money that has been tied up in stocks and real estate for decades, well, it can now hold cryptocurrency in its retirement portfolios. That's trillions in potential inflows. And to put that in perspective, Bitcoin's market cap, it's only sitting around 2.3 trillion right now. Even a small allocation from that pension pool could send Bitcoin into price discovery for months ahead. And that's before you even factor in the BlackRock inflows, which haven't slowed down for a second. But it's not just the money, right? It's the people being put in charge. Trump nominated Dr. Stephen Moran to the Fed. This guy is pro-crypto. We're talking years of public support for Bitcoin and crypto right on his Twitter account, or shall we say X account. And then the other order, banning the unlawful debanking of Bitcoin users. That means, guess what? Banks, they can't just shut you down because you're involved in crypto. That is a direct pivot from the choke point policies we've been dealing with for years. Technically speaking, Bitcoin's extremely bullish. On the mid and high time frames, liquidity pools are sitting near 112,000. If for some crazy reason, and I don't think we're going to, but that is like a key indicator to take your longs. My eye is on 122K as the next big move, with about a push up to 130 to 140 in the midterm. But here's the kicker. The whales are still accumulating at these levels. That doesn't happen unless they're convinced that the real run hasn't even started yet. Now we're looking at the Bitcoin chart here. You can see all these white circles I've drawn on the chart for you, and you can see the blue line, which is the 50-day EMA. One candle, one signal, and the entire market can flip. So on the Bitcoin chart, we got a lot of bullish engulfing candles. And if you're a trader, you know exactly why that matters. This isn't just any candle. A bullish engulfing happens when buyers completely overpower the sellers, wiping out the previous candle and closing higher. So you can see the red candle, which was the downward point in the market. That's your sellers. And you can see the buyers stepping back in and wiping it out instantly, saying, I don't think so. Historically, we've seen these show up right before the move continues to the upside. It's the market's way of showing that even when sellers think they're in control, that there's an army of buyers waiting to step in and push the prices higher. We can see it back in May. We can see it back in June. We can see it in July. We are now seeing it in August. Our latest bullish engulfing just happened the beginning of August, right around the 5th. And you can see every time we get these engulfings, we shoot up to the upside. So if we see this follow through, like pretty certain 99.9% chance that we're going to 122 target, well, it becomes not just possible, but guess what? It becomes probable. Then we get this, Joe Lubin. Yeah, the man's back out. I don't know who let him run free. And he sees Ethereum flipping Bitcoin next year.
Talk about the flippening, where Ether will eclipse the monetary base size of Bitcoin. Some people think that'll never happen. Some people think that'll take a few years. I think we may see astonishing things in the next year or so, especially with these treasury companies driving things. Talk about the flippening.
You know, Joe was always a dreamer. Nothing wrong with dreaming, right? I wish him luck. I wish Ethereum holders luck. Then we get this, a weekly recap, beautiful recap. If you missed this week's news, you missed a turning point. Let me run through this real quick before we get into XRP, Solana, and all these ETFs, and why we have 5 months before this thing's about to absolutely rip to the upside. So Trump officially opened the 401k market to crypto, so that's 12.5 trillion. That could be allocated into the cryptocurrency market, and that number grows every single year. The SEC and Ripple end their legal battle with a joint dismissal. Trump signs the executive order to stop the discrimination against crypto, religion, and politics. Canada lost over 40,000 jobs, the biggest drop since COVID. Harvard, the one who used to shit on Bitcoin, well, they purchased 116 million worth of BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF. David Sachs says Trump's order gives 90 million Americans access to crypto. 82% of the S&P 500 companies beat earnings despite tariffs. The SEC says crypto liquidity staking is not a security. Dubai approves its first crypto options license, and ETH breaks over 4,300 for the first time since 2021. This isn't a normal news cycle. It's a full-on policy, legal, and institutional alignment happening in real time. We look at the XRP chart. We talked about this area of interest, which is our support level, ranging from 310 to 317. As you can see, we are entering that. We would have liked to see a weekly close above 330, at least somewhere within this 335 to 342 zone. The close is in about 25 minutes. It's not going to happen. But as my prediction said, the second half of August, which we're coming up on within the next 7 days, we will enter my time zone on this thing. So pay attention to Bitcoin this week, is when I do believe XRP is going to attempt its breakout. And then they put this out. And let's talk about this because this is huge. So the futures markets told us exactly what's coming for XRP and Solana. Since March, April, when futures-based Solana and XRP ETFs launched, this category has taken in over $1 billion in new capital. That includes Rex Osprey Solana plus staking ETF, which taken in nearly $150 million. That kind of inflow into future products, this is the perfect preview of what happens when we get spot ETFs on both XRP and Solana. Here's why this matters. Futures ETFs, they don't give you real ownership of the asset, and yet demand still poured in. When we get a 1933 Act spot ETF, that's real exposure. That's real demand. That's real buying pressure on the actual underlying asset. For us XRP holders, that's not just bullish. That's generational. Spot ETFs will make XRP more accessible to the institutions, retirement account, and high net worth investors who can't or won't hold it directly. The new wave of bullion will shrink supply fast. And if you've been paying attention to XRP supply dynamics, you know how this story ends. Higher price, faster than people expect. That is coming this year. That is coming within the next 5 months. If I had to take a guess, that is coming within the next 2 to 3 months. So let's pull this all together. We got the US government opening the door for trillions in pension money to float into crypto. We've got a technical setup that's flashing bullish on every time frame that matters. We've got XRP finally free from the legal uncertainty and standing on the edge of an ETF-driven supply shock. And for the first time in years, the policy, the charts, and the money are all pointing in the same direction. This isn't just another leg up, folks. This is the foundation for the biggest move crypto has ever seen. And if you're here right now, you're not late, you're early. And when history books get written about this bull run, you'll be able to say that you saw this coming. I'm going to leave it like that. On your way out, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. That's going to do it for me. Enjoy your Sunday night. Let's have an amazing week. Bitcoin, it's ready. I hope you're ready. I'll catch y'all on the next one.